Okay, and welcome back to Miracle Television. Sorry we had to end the live show, but we've rejoined on a different internet connection now because the other one cut out, unfortunately. We've been having issues with this sort of thing for a while now. But anyway, we're back, and today I have with me Liza Page.
Hello, Max. How are you?
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Don't let them get you.
Stressed out a little bit here and there, but yeah, everything's alright with me.
Good, good.
Let me just put this there. Alright. So, God, there's been a lot in the news recently.
Yes, indeed. That really has. Yeah, it's not been too good, has it?
Yeah, I wanted to go over something we said a couple weeks ago, which I want to say that we were incorrect about.
What was that?
Do you remember when? Well, we were incorrect about it, but we were reading off all the mainstream sources which were incorrect at the time. Do you remember when Russia fired a missile that hit Poland?
Yes, but it wasn't Russia,
Well,
was it?
we'll get to that. So, Russia fired.
Did we say it was Russia?
Yes.
I can't remember. Well, that was very normally was.
Well, we were just reading off the mainstream narratives.
Yes, we were.
I mean, you did say to me that David Icke was saying that he reckons it was that Zelensky guy. But anyway,
Yes,
we
he
were-
did,
we were-
and he's generally right.
yeah.
In fact, he's always right.
Well, here's the thing: we were incorrect about the story, and so was the mainstream media. You would think that if Russia fired a missile and hit a NATO country, you would think that would be world news for the next 2 years, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah,
And
you would think
it's
that
out-
it would have started off some.
Yeah,
sort
it
of
would have,
record.
but it's out of the mainstream narrative now, isn't it?
Yeah,
And the reason,
I don't know what they're messing about.
well, the reason it's out of the mainstream narrative is because it wasn't Russia. It was Zelensky that accidentally fired a missile, and it hit the incorrect place. It was a misfire. It was supposed to hit Russia, but it really hit Poland.
Well, what's he doing firing missiles at Russia? Well, what's he doing?
It's a war. They're firing missiles at each other all the time.
Well, why don't they sit down and talk, for God's sake? I mean,
Because war is getting them a hell of a lot of money. That's why they don't want to sit down and talk. Because
Yes,
it's
of
profit.
course, yes, yeah. Meanwhile, all those poor people being killed. Absolutely dreadful, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes,
But-
when will we ever stop this dreadful, awful nonsense?
Yeah. Well, I do have a story on here that I need to find. I'll try reading a little bit too quickly, actually. And, do you think all this war is just, it's all for profit? Of course it is.
It is. Of course, without a shadow of a doubt. It's all bad.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to find a Sky News article.
But you know, boys do like to scrap.
When they're young, usually.
And when they're old, too.
I suppose, yeah. I can't find it on the computer, but I have it here on my phone. Bring it up. So, from Sky News, Strep A shut the schools and keep it shut till Christmas is over. Parents are worried as concerns rise.
Concerns for
Strep A, this new virus spreading around.
what? Oh, come on.
They're
no,
saying
come
we need
on.
to shut down the schools.
People are stupid enough to stand for it, and that's exactly what they deserve. Sorry. I mean, we deserve all we get, because what are we doing about it? Sweet Fanny Adam, nothing.
Well, the problem is, we all get stressed out from time to time because no one individual can really do anything about it.
It's
If
got
it
to
was,
be done en masse like they did in China. They
Exactly.
got some results there, didn't they?
yeah, exactly. It can't just be. It's not. No single individual can do it. It has
The
to be.
world's got to do it en masse. Say, I'm sorry, we're not having this.
Do you know?
No violence, sorry, we're not having it.
Well, the no violence option is. I mean, Guardian had the story this morning about the Germans trying to have their parliament overthrown.
Oh yes, but it was a very small concern, wasn't it? I mean, did it on yes.
But anyway, it's difficult to convince the whole world. That's a bit of a task.
Well, yes, it's a bit of a task, but strange things have happened, and I would have thought by now that they would have got the message. And about this world reset that they're trying to pull off. And you know, if people are too dumb to see it, then my God, what is going to happen? People have no idea of the evilness of these people and how they're trying to kill us all lot. I mean, look at these injections. They should have been taken off the market months and months ago. Never should have been put on.
But
But the
again,
statistics are not brought into the open. You get people in Parliament saying they're going to do something about it, and then, oh yes, well, we looked into the matter, but they're all right. They're okay, you see. Yes. But we have investigated. That's what you're going to get. You don't go to.
well, that's what, no matter what the situation, Parliament will always investigate themselves and go, well, no, nothing's wrong, actually.
Nothing's wrong, no. Just thousands of millions of people are dying of these injections. And getting maimed for life. Children. May I read you a little something? May I read
Read, yeah.
something? Thank you. Oxfordshire Council to trial a climate lockdown starting 24. They're at it now. The council passed climate lockdown trial to begin 2024. Oxford County Council yesterday approved plans to lock residents into one of 6 zones to save the planet from global warming. The latest stage is in the 15-minute city agenda is to take place. Electronic gates on key roads in and out of the city, confining residents to their own neighbourhoods. Yes.
With this,
Under the new scheme, if residents want to leave their zone, they will need permission from the council, who gets to decide who is worthy of freedom and who isn't. Under the new scheme, residents will be allowed to leave their zone a maximum of 100 days per year. But in order to even gain this, every resident will have to register their car details with the council, who will then track their movements via smart cameras around the city. I mean, people are going to say this. I mean, but you know, David Icke told us about this years ago. Every single thing the man said is coming to pass. And I want to tell you something, people who don't know David Icke, I implore you to go to his channel, davidicke.com, join his other channel, the Icke Alternative, and read his books and get as much information from this man as you possibly can, for the simple reason he is all we've got. We have no one else. Oh, New Zealand. Baby Wills, little baby darling, little baby Wills, has been born with a heart defect and it has to be operated on. The parents said they want only blood for the child because he would most probably have to have a transfusion. They want only blood from people who have not been vaccinated. But the arm said no, can't have that because everyone will want that. So they've taken baby Wills, and he can't have the blood he wants. They're going to fill him full of that poison. And if he grows up, we all know what will happen to him.
So he was taken away by Child Protective Services.
When are people going to stop this nonsense? When are they going to? I mean, there's trillions of us, and a handful of these monsters, these psychotic monsters, giving their orders. It was very interesting what you told me yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the vaccinations, because you can't
Well,
go to New York because you're not vaccinated. But if you went by private jet, they would let you in.
So yeah, let me explain it. So you have to be vaccinated to travel across the world. There are no exemptions. There's one exemption. If you've had COVID within the last 6 months, you can travel because you have the antibodies. Because we know once you have the antibodies, you have a minimum of 6 months of protection. So that's what's allowed in the airlines. But you still have to be vaccinated to travel, unless you're traveling by private jet. Then you don't have to be vaccinated. Isn't that interesting?
I find it very interesting. Yes, yes, but it certainly doesn't surprise me.
But do you remember? I mean, if you were surprised by that story, I've got another one for you. This was about a year ago now. The head of a vaccine company was kicked out of Israel.
Yes.
The company wasn't in Israel. I think it was an American company. He travelled to Israel to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu, whatever the prime minister's name was. I can't pronounce it. But he was kicked. Netanyahu.
Yes.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yes.
Anyway, the vaccine company leader went to go meet with him and he was kicked out of Israel. Do you know why? Because he wasn't vaccinated.
So they kicked him out.
Anyone who's not vaccinated is immediately kicked out of the country, no questions asked. He, the head of a COVID vaccination company, was not vaccinated.
He was a good judge, was he?
Well,
He was a good judge.
he's still the head of that company, so I don't think he really is. I think he might be a bit evil. I would
Dead
say.
evil, but
The head of the
this whole thing
vaccine
is so
company.
evil, it's
The
funny.
head of the vaccine company was kicked out for not being vaccinated.
But they've done nothing about it. No. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've spoken to so many people, even in this little town, who developed cancer after they've had the vaccination. So serious. So terribly serious. And that's just cancer. There's some other nice diseases that hit you too. There's Parkinson's, there's cancer, a million and one things. What do you expect if you put that poison into your body? What do you expect?
It's ridiculous to me how anyone believes that the vaccine is 100% safe and effective. nothing is 100% safe and effective. Peanuts aren't even 100% safe and effective. It's ridiculous.
Well, they terrorize people about this COVID thing, which was nothing more than flu with 99% recovery, which they didn't tell people about.
99.9999999% of someone my age.
Certainly.
Obviously, once you get to 80, and obviously, like any disease, you have more of a chance of dying from it. That's why everyone was going about, oh, protect grandma. You know, think about grandma.
Yes.
And now, you know, that didn't work.
Terrifying little children.
Yeah, and that didn't work. So what's the new one? Strep A. Oh, you think of the children. Oh, would you please think of the children?
Yes. And now they have passed the vaccination for 6 months old babies. Now, how can a woman, any woman who's giving birth, not like this? How can she? Are we becoming subhuman? Yes, I think we are. Because something's happening to people's brains. I mean, they're not right, I promise you. Whether it was wearing those big masks, I don't know. But something is going on in people's minds that is, I don't wish to know. I don't wish to know.
Is the interesting thing about those masks. You know how everyone cares so much about climate change. What are we concerned about? We're concerned about the truck that's outside because it's producing CO2. It's emitting carbon dioxide. What do we worry about? Carbon dioxide, right? But with all the factories, without the factories, with the factories and the cars, they all produce carbon dioxide, and through too much of that, you know, it can lead to serious illness. That is true. That is a fact. What is interesting is we also breathe carbon dioxide. When you cover your mouth with these masks, you're breathing out and you're breathing back in the carbon dioxide. And, you know, you can get seriously ill from that. That's what the whole climate change thing is. Whole carbon dioxide levels decline. But everyone was covering their mouth and breathing it in more than ever.
And I mean, little children, you know, their brains underdeveloped and everything. They say, statistics say that they will never be right again. You can't have a child's mouth and take away the size of the brain without damaging the brain. It's an impossibility not to. And they wore those face coverings for many, many, many hours in these schools, and probably wore them at home too.
Luckily, I was medically exempt, and I also helped some people. I'm not going to say who, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I helped some people become immune. What's the word I'm looking for? Exempt to wearing masks. I would give friends and some family of mine my old inhalers. If you have asthma, you don't have to wear a mask, because obviously asthma being a respiratory disease, you need as much oxygen as you can.
Yes.
So the mask is really quite dangerous. So I didn't wear a mask. That's why, because I was born with asthma. I was born that way. I've had a few asthma attacks in my life, so it is a concerning thing. I gave people my old inhalers that knew about this, so if they ever got stopped on the train, why aren't you wearing a mask? They would pull out an inhaler and go, I'm asthmatic, I'm exempt. Sorry, I don't have my exemption card on me, but I have my inhaler here in my pocket. And they would go, oh, okay, that's fine.
How generous.
Just old inhalers that I didn't need.
How very, very generous of you. I think that's a very nice gesture.
I got people out of not wearing a mask.
Yeah,
So
start giving these away for Christmas presents.
Do you have an inhaler?
No, actually, I don't. My mother had an inhaler, and eventually she found out she
Did she have COPD as well?
had cancer.
Oh, yeah. I agree. tank because he could not breathe whatsoever. He was going through an inhaler every 2 weeks, whereas mine lasts 6 months and they expire before I use them.
Yes.
And he could not breathe. He was 92 when he passed away. He had severe COPD, couldn't breathe. The hospital wouldn't give him an oxygen tank. And the reason I say it's a funny story is because he was a smoker. For 81 years he smoked, which is a hell of a long time to smoke. They said, you need to quit smoking, otherwise we can't give you an oxygen tank because it can blow up. I understand, that is true. It can cause an explosion. So they said, you're going to have to quit smoking and we'll put you on an oxygen tank. And he went, no. And they went, what? And he went, no, I'm just going to continue smoking. But you can't breathe. He goes, I know. And eventually he died because he suffocated, because he just couldn't get breaths in. If he had had the oxygen tank, it certainly would have extended his life by quite a few years.
Can you not buy your own oxygen tank?
Yes, you can, but it would still blow up if you're a smoker. My grandparents, when my grandma was sick, they had my grandma living with them, like you had with your mother, and they had to stop smoking in the house because the oxygen tank would blow.
Really? I didn't know that.
It is a.
My mother didn't smoke and I didn't smoke.
So it wasn't a concern, and they probably never mentioned it.
Me of that. I never was on the scene.
Well, it's because it's.
Slow suffocation.
Yeah, and that's what happened to my great-granddad. He suffocated to death because he refused to quit smoking. That's where I get my stubbornness from. He was so stubborn, he essentially killed himself. But yeah, no, the oxygen tank would have extended his life, but he was like, what's the point? I don't want to continue to live on until I'm 100 and not smoke. I would rather enjoy the last year I have.
The thing of getting old is it's very lonely because you don't know anybody. I mean, friends you've known for many, many years, they pass on before you. And it's hard to form new friends again.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
You can form very nice acquaintances, but friendships, when you form the world together, so to speak, it becomes difficult.
He lived in an over 60s retirement. Well, it wasn't a retirement home. He had his own flat. It was an over 50s place, and he lived there for 50 years or so. 35 years, and he stopped making friends because all of them would die before him, and he just went, I'm sick of this, and he stopped making friends because they all died.
Yes, I can understand that. You think, no, I don't want to get too fond of this person because, they're going to pass on, and you don't want to put yourself through that emotional continual loss all the time. But that it is not the way to carry on. We must be brave enough to make friends if we possibly can, even though it's for a short time, and they're going to go, or we're going to go. I mean, nothing is forever. So it's not the length of the friendship, it's the quality of the friendship. I think. I was going to tell a story that I cried with my mascara. When my sister was losing her little boy with leukemia, he came home and we had 10 days with him, and then he died. And my father said, I'm so grateful we had those 10 days with him. He looked at me like that, Even if it's just, that's why it's such a terrible, dreadful thing what they did, locking people up and not allowing them to see their elderly relatives in these homes where they died alone. That was wicked, terrible. And these people should never, ever, ever be forgiven for what they did. And then they're living into, well, there's lessons to be learned from this. That's what you'll get from these assholes. lessons to be learned. Yeah,
Not only,
take them and lock them up and say, learn that lesson.
not only did they profit from it, but now Hancock is making a book. He's writing a book about
Of course, it
it.
will make a lot of money because people will be stupid enough to buy his book. Gullible enough.
And gullible enough to think he actually wrote it.
Exactly. Oh, and hash. I think it all again.
Well, should we go to a clip for a quick breather and relax, and we'll come back in and go into some stories.
That might be nice. Then I can look at you.
Okay. Well, we'll go to the park for a minute and then we'll play Keith's documentary after just for a few minutes. So here we go, let's go to the park. Okay, so we're back. You okay?
Yes. I
Okay. Well, you know, go to a little bit of a longer clip. We'll just play that for a break. Keith would like me to play part 2, episode 3, part 2, Bloody Past the Tank Town. It's 10 minutes long. We're going to get our stories together, and then we're going to continue on after we play this show, this documentary. So we'll do that now.
like his stuff.
That's how it is,
He's
right?
done all the work.
Yeah. Well, okay.
You might think, from the pubs I've been into, that Lewes is a drinking town. The town constable in the late 1800s didn't think so. The town constable in 1890 didn't want it to be. Here are some notes from the High Constable of Lewes, a gentleman called John Holman, dated 1880. Sunday, the 10th of October, visited all the public houses during morning service. All in good order, except Lewes Arms, several there tippling in service time. Sunday, the 17th of October, visited public houses, all in very good order, except the Lewes Arms. Again, a second time, several persons in both parlour and taproom tippling at 11:30, time of divine service. Gave the landlord a caution. Sunday, the 14th of November, visited public houses as usual, witnessed very great indecency in the person of George W. Several persons were tippling during divine service, and on our approach to do our duty, they were permitted to hide themselves upstairs in the pub. This was the third or fourth offence of the same kind. Wow, bit different today. But beer is very close to the hearts of this Sussex town, because it's one of the main employers and industries. Earlier, I mentioned the John Harvey Tavern. John Harvey started his brewery on the banks of the River Ouse in 1790. He was one of the 16 that flourished here at one time. Now, with just the odd microbrewery popping up here and there, it's the only one. The brewery is close to the hearts of the community. The pubs it owns have in the main remained traditional, while its method of delivery has...
Okay, so welcome back. We're really sorry. We've checked out the audio, and unfortunately, it's not working very well. From our end, it's you can barely hear it. So we're gonna have to leave. So, sorry for this, for the technical issues that we're having.